Alright everyone, we're back with another adventure of GMC Frame Adventures. Yep, I picked this thing up fairly cheap, beautiful on the inside, it's been taken well care of. I go back to one of my previous videos, one of the first videos I ever loaded up. You'll find out what it's all about and what it looks like on the inside. The only major issue we have is some framework, and this is what we're going to start today. I've got it kind of set up in the garage. I got blocks, got the wheel, the emergency brake pulled, got the wheels chocked and all that, and down here is what we're going to be doing. And I've already cut out a section here already. This is not very big. This is probably 3 fingers width. This is pretty solid up here. I just cut out the bad sections, and luckily enough up here forward we're in pretty good shape. You can see looks pretty good up here. That's good because it's kind of tight up here and all the way up into here. Frame is in good shape. Now right here I got one little hole behind this bracket. What I'm probably going to do is take my cutting wheel and just cut this out like this, and that way I can get in here and patch that, and then kind of weld this back in here with a 110 welder. That's what I'm going to be doing all this work with. I'm going to be using 35 thousandths wire and just a 110 flux core welder. And I was looking at part of this frame here. I'm going to have to get a light set up here where you can see on the inside. The frame was actually in pretty good shape, and I've measured this. This is about an 1/8 inch steel frame that was put on here. So this side here is going to be pretty easy to do, and I'm going to do it last because the other side gets a little more involved. I'm going to have to take this bracket out here. This is the transmission bracket. I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to try to get this here plate, take cut wheel and cut this out. There's a big gap here, and you can see through that. They didn't weld that. Then kind of take a wheel and cut this out right here, because that piece is actually up here, and just a small section of that is bolted on the frame on the other side. And I'm going to have to get up under here and show you a little bit better. But that's the plan. We'll get this brace out here. This transmission brace will block up the transmission once I get the brace out. And we have plenty of room. And of course, if you saw the video earlier, well, they stole the converter that was on it. They had a big break-in when this thing was sitting at the yard. Now here is the rest of the frame that I've got to patch. It's not terrible. I mean, I've seen a lot worse and I've done worse, but I'm going to get this piece of crap here out of here. They just kind of stuck that in there because they didn't want to put any money into it. So I'm going to take this piece out. Once I get this out, I'll have all the room I need to get my wheel in here and cut all this out. And if I back up here a little bit, you can probably see what I was talking about earlier. This piece right here, the frame, transmission frame goes here and bolts onto this. Well, once this piece here comes off, I'm still going to have part of this bracket here on the bottom of the frame. I need to get this piece off of here. It's not very big. And once I get this off, I can get in here and do a little bit more work in behind the frame. And if I turn the light a certain way, you can probably see why. Got a few holes up in here, so we're just going to do this over time. It'll probably take me a week to do it, on and off, an hour here, an hour there. But you can see this frame, this piece here. Boy, if that wasn't on there, this would be a piece of cake to fix. But you know, it'll be fun to do, I guess. Sort of not, but I got a good vehicle once I get it done. So there's the frame rot, and this is not terribly big either. It's only about 2 fingers, 3 fingers, and you can see all the way to the top. It's in pretty good shape until it gets right up there, and there's a little tiny hole up there, but that's about it. All this I can get to. If I back the camera up, you can see this is where the cat would normally be, and this is why these frames get bad. The heat cycles, the water, and all that. And of course, they didn't put the best frame material when they made these frames back in the day. So that's what we're going to be doing. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and get this piece off here and go ahead and get this transmission brace off. So this is how I'm going to do mine. All these Trailblazers and Envoys, they have frame problems. So if you buy one of these, double check that frame before you hand over that cash, because if you don't, you miss the place on the frame, you're probably going to have to go somewhere and have it fixed, or even before you can even get it inspected in some states. So alright, so let's get to work on this and see what we can get done. My goal is to make it look really good, like it's never been worked on. Alright, before we get too far in the video, there's the 2 pieces I cut out. I'm going to use those as templates as I cut some steel a little bit later. This is what you can do. This is really a really precise way to really cutting up what you need, and you don't have to cut a whole lot. So there's our pieces we've already cut out. And now, as you can see, I finally got this stupid flex pipe out where they didn't want to replace the cat. And now, look at that. All that room to get in there and patch that. So, well, at least we're off to a good start. And there's where they cut the converter off right there. It goes right here. So that should be a pretty easy fix. I can get this whole section for about $120. So that's something down the road I'll worry about. But for now, we'll go ahead and start cutting some pieces out on this frame. Now I do have right here, I know there is a block right here that connects the frame this way. So the whole idea is I'm going to piece it to here, weld it, then continue from here. That way I can still have a weld anchor on to that piece there inside the frame. They did that a couple places. I think there's one here and probably one back here on this side where I can get to. But yeah, this is what you're looking at. This is where they always go bad. So luckily I think I can fix this no problem. So all right, let's get to work. All right, so we're back under here. I think I'm going to leave this brace in for now for the transmission because I can get up under here and do a lot of work for now. And that's what I'd like to go ahead and do and get this kind of started. So you can see there's the rust and some of the holes. The first hole I'm going to try to fix is actually right here. I'm going to make a little piece here and kind of put it in here and weld it. I can get my welder in there, no problem. These are factory holes there, that's no problem. So my next piece I'll cut out right here and come down. Something like this. Just cut all the bad pieces out. But for now, go ahead and see if I can get that in there kind of ready, because that's kind of far up in there and that's the only one I see. So I just want to make it look good, that's all. So I'm going to go ahead and see what we can do here. Alright guys, hole gone. Took care of that. So now all I got to do is get a little grinder wheel, something small up in there, and kind of grind that down a little bit. I might have to hit it a couple more times, but that hole's gone. Of course, I'm going to spray some stuff inside that frame as I work my way down. And well, I won't have to worry about that no more. So I just basically filled it in. I took my time with the welder and just kind of filled it in with wire. I could have got a small piece up in there, but it was only an inch by inch. And it was kind of hard to get my hands up in there. So I thought, well, I'll just try to fill it in. And that's what I did. Just fill it in. So now I got to go ahead and clean it up and come back here. We'll cut some more out and work our way down. This is just how I do it. You can do it any way you want, but this is how I'm going to save my frame. Alright folks, here's where we're at. We got our piece here cut out. This is probably 3 inches, about 5, well, let's see, 3 inches, about 10 inches here. It's not terribly big, it's the size of my hand. And it's outside there. We'll make a template tomorrow, but I sprayed the inside the frame. I'm going to let this dry tonight. I'm going to get some bed liner stuff and spray up in here. We'll try to smooth that down just a little bit more. It's kind of hard to get in there, but I tried to take this pipe out of here from the exhaust, and that exhaust, those bolts are up there, and the only way you can get them off is probably twist them. I don't want to have to twist them off right now because I don't want to feel like pulling off the exhaust right now, the manifold, but that's something I might have to do later if I get another cat to put on here, because it connects from there and goes right behind me here about a foot or so into the muffler. It's all one big piece, but this is where it usually sits. So it's looking pretty good. There's a plate right here. If you can see it on this side or not, because I can't see what you're seeing, but there's a plate there. That's why I stopped here. And then you have another section here, and there's another plate right here. I think you can kind of see it behind there. So I'm going to plate it to there, cut this smaller section out, plate it to this plate here, then go on the way back through there. So that's what you got to do sometimes, but it should be in pretty decent shape when I get her done. And we're back. How about that? We got our first plate welded in, nice and solid. I ran a nice bead around through here. I'm going to grind this down and put another bead, a nice smooth bead across through here to stiffen it up, then grind it down again so it'll kind of all blend in. I'm going to actually use something called a bed liner spray paint put on here. Spray up into the frame, into these holes and stuff, because that'll keep it from rusting on the inside. But you can see the difference there. There's the old one and new stuff there. So I'm using some plate steel I got from the local junkyard for free. I said, hey, you know, I'm patching a frame. He says, well, get what you want. And I grabbed a couple pieces of steel. you're going to have some cutting wheels. Make sure you have probably 10 or 15, because when you're cutting this hard steel, to put it in here, it does it does take a toll on the grinding wheels, is what I'm trying to say. And also, I took the old piece I cut out, made a template over the other piece of steel, and I traced it. This is what we got there, so it's nice and solid. And I'll do a tap test. You can hear the harmonics are pretty much the same. So this here is the same thickness of the original frame here, and I measured again. It might be about 3/16 of a thick, 3/16 of an inch thickness there or so. But this here is definitely just a little over an eighth of an inch. So yeah, it's pretty close. But that's how I'm doing it. So I'm going to continue here, and we'll go ahead and finish down to here. And eventually, I think what I'm going to have to do is probably take the wire wheel and clean this up really good. There's still some metal behind this rust, believe it or not, so that's the main thing. You make sure you get some of this off here so you can get a nice good weld to it. But it's not perfect, but man, it's still going to be a lot better than it was. Alright everyone, check this out. Our first piece is in. Check that out. Yep. I'm actually going to use some flat black paint, clean it up down here a little bit all the way around. But man, what a difference. So now all we got to do is go ahead and get this here cut out, and eventually get my cross member out of the way a little bit. So, boy, what a difference. That ain't going nowhere. I think you can see up in there. So, we'll let that dry and come back and start there. Alright, so let's get you caught up. So far, so good. I've gone ahead and taken out my transmission bracket there. And I got a couple of jacks there up under the back of the transfer case, and there is the bracket laying there because I have a lot more room here getting in here. And also, the solution was, how was I going to get in here? Bear with me a second. And get behind these braces. Well, I just cut them out. That one's been cut out. That one's been cut out. And here is one of them. There's a thin bead of weld on there. I just took a cutting wheel and cut that weld off, and I marked it. I got some marks on here, exactly where they go, and all that. And I can mock it up with my transmission bracket. When I get ready to put it all back together, I can put bolts in and just kind of lean it up there and tack everything, make sure everything lines up. And that is that. And let me back up here just a little bit. And now, as you can see, I have access in behind here. Fix these pieces, and this piece here, like I said, was actually bolted like this, welded in here, and I couldn't get it behind here, so now it's out of the way. And same thing over here. So got a little hole right here, but I can get in there no problem with that. And our work ends right here, so this is where the frame ends. Everything from here on back is okay. And now I'll go ahead and start welding here a little bit and getting some stuff put back together. Now, if you have a big lift, you can stand up and do all this. It's a lot easier, but I'm laying on my back in the garage with the thing up about 2.5 feet. So we'll start cleaning here. We'll come back. I'm hoping this video is not going to be very long. We'll try to keep it short as I can. But I just want to show you how I am going to patch this up and make it look pretty good. So that's how I did that. All right, so far so good. Another day. We had a whole whip there, if you remember, and we patched it to there. And today we patched it from about here to here. And all I have now is this little section here up to the bracket. And this all will be done. This is actually a thin bead of tar I'll put on my gloves, and I'll kind of like smear it around, rub it in the frame. I use a lot of that. It's just roofing tar, and this is actually flat black paint. It's on. That's why it looks a little shiny. That's all drying right now, but yeah, I don't have too much more to do here. It's this little section here. It's about 2 inches, maybe 2 inches by 7 or 8 inches. Not very long. I can get in here and cut this out and place it in here. Then I got a smaller section back here behind to do tomorrow. And this side, believe it or not, it's already done. I can't believe it didn't take that long as I thought it was going to take. The slow part is the welder. Getting in here and welding and grinding it down and welding it some more to where you want it to be just about right. But once this dries flat, it won't be as shiny. It'll be nice and flat. So it's a little shiny right now, but yeah, I'm pretty happy. And like I said, just a little more to go. So yeah, it's getting there. Alright, so there's where we left off in the last video clip. And here's where we currently are at now. We're all the way over to the bracket here, this piece. Got a little place here I want to place in. This here was just perfect. This piece here I put in. I got weld on the other side because I have an opening. So this is really well done. I got to clean this down up a little bit and go over it again. So this is just a rough look at it. And I'm going to put a little piece here. I'm going to actually put a little hole here so I can spray some stuff up in here, since I don't want this 100% closed up. I think, well, either I'll put a hole on the other side or do it on this side. So I may just close this up and put a hole on the other side. That way I don't have to get up under here. Anyway, there's where we're at. And now we'll go ahead and finish up this hole here. And this is why I'm so thankful that I have somewhat of a little bit of a garage to work in. Yeah, it's cold out here, but hey, at least the sun's shining. Alright, so here's something I kind of do. It speeds up the process and takes the guesswork out of measuring and cutting. That's just a piece of paper there. That's the hole I'm going to be filling in. It's my little template. And this just saves so much time. And you can see right here, it's the bracket, right about where my finger is. So this side, believe it or not, is almost done. We got one little patch in front of this bracket to do. So yeah, this saves a lot of time. So we're going to fill this in and grind all this down. Well, I'll fill this in and weld it, grind it down, put another nice smooth bead across it, and weld it from the other side since I have a big opening over here, and go from there. So I just wanted to show you this one way you can kind of do it, but it's getting there, slowly but surely. Alright guys, so there's my little patch, exactly the way I want it. And another little tip here, push this back out. I got my little arrow there and all that. Get you a big old tool like this, crescent wrench, and get in here and you can actually bend this frame a little bit and shape it the way you want it in case some of your pieces don't fit exactly the way you want it. You can bend it out. This is how I pretty much got it perfect the way I want it there. Ta-da! So yep, so go ahead and finish this up here. And maybe get the other side here real quick, and this side will be done. Hey, let me know where you're watching from right now. Alright guys, so here's about 4 hours worth of work, and here's another at least 2 hours, and we're all the way back to the frame now. I'm not going to paint this right now because I still got to do this piece over here, just past it right here. Got this little section cut out. This side, inside is going to be done. But I don't want to paint any of this because if I weld and paint this, it might start smoking and, you know, get kind of nasty in here. So this, I'll be painting this last. But yeah, there we go. Pretty good. It's amazing what you can do with a 110 welder. I had to play around with a couple of different settings because sometimes it'll burn through the metal and sometimes it's not enough. But man, I can't believe I did this. So it's looking really good. So next thing here now is to go ahead and get this section here, little section fixed. I might have to resituate myself here where I can get in here a little bit better, but alright, so there we go. Alright, I almost forgot to tell you, I did take this little section of pipe here out. I just took my cut wheel and cut these off because you never get these out, knock these out, but I don't even know if this is even good. That goes to the muffler, but it's out of the way. It gives me a little more excess here. I could actually take this piece out from the transmission, the bracket here, and it would give me even more room, but we'll see. We might do that later. But what I wanted to tell you is the way you get these O2 sensors out, I used a pipe wrench on it. And here is my map gas. This is the best thing to use. What you got to do is heat it around on the outside where the sensor screws in. Heat this up till it starts glowing around here. Then take your pipe wrench or whatever and give it a nice tug, and you'll break these out. You'll get them out. I tried it a couple times without heat. It wasn't going. But once I heated this up, it worked pretty good. Don't even use propane. Use this stuff here. This is much hotter and it works a lot better. So just so you know. But that's the section there. I'll deal with a little bit later. Alright, so I got my transmission cross member kind of bolted up. And I've got my first plate over here kind of mock welded. I got the bolts there exactly where they should be. And the plate is kind of welded down here. I got to take it off and weld the inside, but there's how I'm holding it up just with a hammer. And also on this side, this plate has been welded in, so this side is pretty much done. I just got to clean this up a little bit more. Maybe go in here with a welder, make it look a little prettier, and then bolt this other piece on here. and weld it back in like it was. Other than that, man, I can't believe I almost got this thing done. So, ooh, there we go. Hold camera there. There's that side. I did put a little paint on there just to see what it looked like, but I'm really happy. Well, I'm actually going to get some bed liner material and spray inside and on the outside of the frame. I saw some today. It's fairly cheap. And we're going to coat this up really, really thick, so we'll have any more problems down the road rusting. And of course, I've got a shadow behind me here. There we go. So, but you can see, nice and solid. And I got all my bolts in here, kind of mocked up on both sides. So when I bolt this back up here, these brackets on the side that I tuck off, I want to make sure these bolt holes line up here. So there's where we're at. So we'll clean this up, come back here in a little bit and see what else we can get done. On the outside we got a couple patches, and that's about it. We're almost done. So yeah, it's getting there. And as I pan over there, just kind of show you here, how much wire have I used so far? Well, 35 thousandths wire. I've used almost a 2-pound roll so far. So I got two 2-pound rolls on eBay for about 30 bucks, fairly cheap. So just about ready to change out the other rolls. So in case anyone was wondering how much wire I've used so far, just about a whole 2-pound roll. Alright, so we're making some decent progress. I got my plates all welded back up. On this side we did a lot of, got a lot done on the other side. I'll show you here in a few minutes. But I went ahead on this side, and I decided to go ahead and put a plate out here, and look at that. You can't even tell where I welded it. Nice and solid all the way through. And this little bit here, this is probably 5 inches by about 12. This was about 3 hours worth of work, because with a 110 welder you really have to get in there and weld, and you hit clean it off and go back in again to get another bead in there and make sure it's nice and thick and smooth, because you want the two pieces to bond together really good. And it's really hard to lay dimes down with that welder, so you hit areas that's got rust on it and it doesn't want to weld very well. But I'm pretty happy with it, and it's solid. So I'm happy about that. So we'll go back on the other side and I'll show you what I've done on the inside there real quick. And I'll say one thing, boy, doing framework is a messy job. What a mess. But hey, it's working out pretty good. So here's what we got on this side. Up the top, all the way down. There's our plates we welded back in. And there's that side there. So, man, you can't even tell that frame even had a problem now. So, really happy with that. So, we're going to go on the other side and finish up that over there. And I've got some spray paint we're going to put on here. We're going to put on some bed liner material. And I think I mentioned this in the other video. I did take this piece out of the way here just to get more room in there, excess. But see, everything's welded back in. Now, if I'd had a problem with this being rusted so bad it was rusted up on the top, I'd probably had a lot more work to do. It could have been replaced, but there's not a lot of room between the frame and the body of the vehicle, so you'd almost have to cut out an angle like that to be able to get a welder up in there and weld the top of that, then put a plate on the outside of it. So it's, these are things that you got to work out. But I'm really happy with it. What do you guys think? I think I will be able to save her. So alright, so there we go. Let's go ahead and hit the other side. Back about 4 hours later. We've got the front piece here in. Now we are working on this other section here. Cut a little short, but we'll put another piece up over here. Still got some problems here with the frame where it's pretty thin. So I'm going to cut another little section out here, just a small section. Weld that in. We got this all welded in here. I had a little trouble getting the welder to work right over here because I don't know if it's because of the ground or whatever, but it's got a nice bead here. I'm going to go ahead and grind this down and go back over it with another smooth bead and kind of make it look like this. Can't even feel that. I'll light it up here a little bit better for you. You can see. Nice and solid. So the work continues here. So it looks like we're just about done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up here the best I can. Looks like we're almost done with this side. Just got a little bit of prep work to do. Got something on here called undercoat. This stuff here, I couldn't find any bed liner stuff to parts store tonight. They didn't have any, but that seems like it's going to work pretty good. This is a little wet right there. That's why it's shiny. And what a big improvement, huh? I'm actually going to do a coat or two over that. You won't even be able to see this imperfection right here where the other piece was welded in eventually. That'll all be smoothed out. But man, what a difference. So I'll probably just go ahead and squirt oil on the rest of the frame and kind of let it soak in maybe 6 months from now. Once all this rust gets off there, then I'll spray it with some more of this all the way back on both sides. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. What do y'all think? I have one little place right here. I gotta get in here. There's a little hole right here about the size of my finger. I'll patch it tomorrow and I'll spray it. I don't want to get up here too close because with that welder, this stuff will get hot. It will catch on fire. You gotta be kind of careful with that. But yeah. I think it's going to be alright. It's going to work out okay for me. Alright guys, check it out. This side of the frame is pretty much done. Nice look at it. We got our plates welded in. And as we go on this side over here, you can see how it looks on this side. Still dried, but boy, what a big difference. This is still a little wet there, but that is all drying, and we're ready to put our cross member in on this side. So it didn't take too long. I've gone through almost 6 pounds of wire. I'm on my third roll now, so we're going into 6, but I don't need much more. I'm just doing a little bit on the other side. But what a difference. If you go back to the earlier video and compare this, I think we did pretty good. It's not perfect, but I'll be able to save this, and this is going to be my daily driver. And we'll watch it over the next few months or even years, and if we see anything getting kind of rusty, we'll go in here and clean it up and take care of it. So pretty happy the way it came out, especially with a 110 welder. Let's go to the other side. And here is a look at the passenger side on the outside of the frame, and it's almost done too. Turned out really good. These dark places you see is where some of the stuff's not quite dry. And you can't even really feel those imperfections there, but I'll probably hit it another coat or two. And it'll end up being nice and smooth like the top of this. But what a difference. All the way to the front. Now, right now, the only thing I got left to do is right here. I've already taken care of this. I cut this piece out. I'm welding it back in now. If you look up in here, you can see where I got some tar up in there and all that. I got a plate welded in there, and I grinded it down. Now the little tiny wheels on these grinders, when they get down to nothing, they're really good for spaces like this. I was in here grinding and smoothing all this down before I welded this in, and now all I got to do is go ahead and finish up here some welds and clean this up, paint that. So pretty happy with that, and that is all we got left to do. So there we go. So I'll go ahead and finish this up here, and we'll wrap this video up. Guys, so after about an hour or so, we are done. There we go. How about that? That's a fresh coat of that undercoating. And what I do, I'll put a very light coat on it, and I'll rub it in with a rag. And I'll put a second coat on top of that. It's cold in here, so this stuff's going to take a while to dry. And also, you can see, check that out. That's all done. It's pretty wet there, so that'll dry, and we're good to go. I got it up on the front there as far as practical. But, yep. So hopefully you've enjoyed this little video. Sometimes these frameworks aren't too bad. Other times you can get really involved. So this is just how I want to do this. To save the old GMC, all I got to do is put the transmission bracket back in and pull it out and let it run for a little bit. I do have some more things I'm going to be doing to it. I got to replace the thermostat on the engine. The engine temperature is not warm enough. It doesn't have much of a heater, so I need to replace that. And I'm going to be doing a video on this. This is the new cat that I got for it. Paid $120. This thing's not very big, so the other old one on these Trailblazers are a lot bigger. It'll be interesting to see if this works, and we'll check out the data on the OBD2 code on the graph and see if it's actually working. But this one has just a 102 sensor here. This goes back to the muffler, and this goes up to the manifold. The only downside is on this Trailblazer, I mean, not on this Trailblazer, this GMC. Trailblazer is basically the same thing. I can't get these bolts out up there on the manifold, so I'll probably go ahead and pull the manifold out on this because it's already, the pipe's already cut. And that way I can get in here and get these bolts out without, you know, drilling them out and get into a mess. But that's another video coming up down the road. But for now, our framework is done. I'm excited and happy that I could do it and share it with you guys. Alright guys, so that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. I don't have a lot of room in my old garage here, but I tell you what, it does get me by in the winter months until I get something bigger. But until then, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you